This is Mark Kramer, Executive Director of the Private Investors Forum, which runs the Angel Venture Fair. Today, we're talking with Matt Handel, founder, CEO of ExpressCells. Matt is going to talk a little bit about his company so investors can learn more. Matt, so let's start off with, what is ExpressCells?
Well, thanks, Mark. ExpressCells is a gene editing company, but we don't focus on therapeutics or trying to find the next diagnostic. We do gene editing as an outsourced service for pharma and biotech researchers. What that basically means is we help them do a better job in research because we take something that we're really good at, gene editing, and we'll do it for them. It means we can deliver gene edits faster than they could do it in-house. We can do complicated projects that they may find difficult or impossible, and we can do it at high quality because remember, they're always targeting their research to go to FDA submission, and we can provide them with gene edits and cells that gives them the highest quality cells and therefore the highest quality data.
Why did you start this company?
Well, we started it in 2018, but like everything else, you can cite the date of incorporation, but we really began the process in 2017. The story is interesting. I had already had one therapeutics company with Oscar Perez, my co-founder. Oscar approached me one night. In fact, we were at a reception, a Chamber of Commerce reception. He pulled me into a side room, spent half an hour showing me pictures of gene-edited cells and saying, this is the business we should be in. And we've been doing it for a long time now.
And so how big is the market for this opportunity?
Well, the total gene editing market last year for CRISPR, which is what we use, was about $2.25 billion. Yes, with a B. Is all that accessible? Probably not. Some of it is done in-house. Some of it is academics. And while we work with academics, we do target industry. But I'd say about a third of that, about $700 million, is a market that we could access.
And do you have any sales yet to date?
We've been doing well. We have at this point 45 customers to date, $1 million in cumulative revenue. We have a number of proposals outstanding, and we're always looking to grow.
How do you market your service?
Well, we do it in a variety of ways. We have a sales force, but we do want to make it bigger. That's why we're doing this current fundraise. Because when you're selling a $50,000 contract for a couple of cell lines with gene edits, you're not going to close that simply by having someone log on to the portal and say, I want to buy this. We also spend quite a bit of money on advertising. We do quite a bit of it online. We chose to do that way back in 2018, long before we were facing, the challenges of COVID. But it really has been quite cost-effective. Many of our customers, these scientists, they don't have someone they know who to go to. So when they are looking, they'll do like many other people. They'll go to Google. They'll pay attention to some of the ads they see. We send out emails so they know who we are. The last thing that we do is we target. It's great if someone from a company reaches out to us, but they need to know that we exist. So we do quite a bit of targeting, identifying scientists, not just in big pharma, but quite a bit of the smaller companies, because frankly, they often don't have the resources. They're used to an outsourcing model, and they want to find people who can help them do their job better.
And what are your revenue streams and what's the average size sale?
So our average size sale right now is $25,000, and that's really focused on the key revenue stream is creating cell lines, cells that can be used in the laboratory with gene edits for researchers. Right now, most of that work is in the US. We are starting to grow internationally, which will be another major revenue source for us. We have a distributor in Japan. We have a distributor in Europe. We continue to seek distributors in major markets such as Korea and China. A third revenue stream that we have just started to tap is what I would call the stem cell market. Stem cells are harder to do gene edits than the cancer and immortalized type cells that we're using right now. And the fourth, which we are just beginning to approach, is cells for production. And that's a very different market because most of what we do right now is fee for service. Someone needs a gene edited cell line, we create it, we send it to them, and that's it. For production purposes, that switches to an annual fee or a royalty market. And in that royalty model, you're suddenly creating quite a bit of repeat business.
And I was going to ask, what's the percentage of repeat business?
Right now, I'd say about 20% of our customers have repeated. Our best customer right now has done 5 projects with us, and we are the preferred provider. There are others where we've done 2 or 3 projects as well.
And who's the competition for you?
So without getting into specific names, I'll call it 2 categories of companies. The first are smaller companies. And when I say smaller, some of them, could be 10 times our size, but with only 12 people, that's still a small company. And they're the ones who are focused in some way on gene cells, CRISPR. It doesn't mean that they're doing exactly what we do, but they'd be in a customer's consideration set. The other are some of the big players, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Millipore Sigma, where you can buy everything from $2 pipettes to $2 million heavy equipment. So they do offer these services, but for them, it's a very small part of their overall business, less than 1%, maybe less than 1/10 of 1%.
Do you have intellectual property?
We do. For our plasmid technology, which came out of Temple University, we have a US patent. We have an allowance for 13 claims in Europe, and we expect that patent to be issued soon. And we're in patent discussions in a variety of countries. We also have a continuation patent under discussion with the US.
And who's on your management team and what's their background?
Well, first of all, we've had a great management team and it's quite stable. We've all been together since July of 2019. So besides myself and just a little background on me, I came from Merck and Shire, where I was in commercial and in business development. We have my co-founder, Oscar Perez, who remains a professor at Temple University, but is very much active with the company. Our scientific director, Shami Nagdi, she has been doing gene editing now for, 15 years plus. We were able to bring her over from Jefferson, and she's done a great job running the lab and hiring a scientific team. The 2 other key people, Rob Hart is our operations head. The key thing about Rob, he's a former CEO and CTO at Halo Labs. So it's always good to have someone on the team who really understands everything about the business. And finally, Connie Davies is our financial person. Connie and I worked together at Shire, and now that didn't mean I just gave a friend a job. Connie and I speak the same financial language. Our books are set up so if a potential investor or acquirer were to look at our books, they wouldn't have to do much investigation. They're set up the way that a larger company's books would be set up.
What's your competitive differentiator?
We call it that we have 3. We're faster, we're better, and we're more specific. By faster, because of our process, we can deliver a cell line in 2 months that might take, with gene edits, that might take a competitor 4 to 6 months. When we say we're better, we can do complicated projects that other people can't. There are harder projects that our competitors just can't do, and we know they can't do because we do competitive analyses every year. And when I say more specific, we try to avoid all of the off-target effects that you can get with gene editing. And why is that important? Well, if you're submitting data to the FDA, you need to be very specific and make sure that it's accurate. And before the FDA will allow any work done in human beings, they want to see the cell-based data. So we are providing cell lines that can be used to generate FDA quality data. And that's incredibly important because you don't want to have to repeat 1 to 2 years worth of research to try to get any FDA approvals.
What's the net profit on your service?
So right now, our gross profit is over 80% for any project. Most of our costs are actually fairly fixed in terms of people and equipment plus facilities. So an individual project has a great return. I'm always upfront. The company is not yet profitable. We are in the growth stage. So once we are profitable, we think that we should be able to generate an EBITDA of somewhere in the 30% range.
Excellent. How big do you think the company will get in 5 years? What's your 5-year financial projection?
Our 5-year financial projection is to get to maybe about $25 million. That depends on whether we remain independent. The typical exit for a company like ours in this segment tends to be an acquisition. So that assumes that we are an independent company and not acquired by someone with a very large commercial sales force.
And how much money are you looking to raise?
Well, we are in the middle of a $3 million round. We've raised 1.6 million. We have 1.4 million remaining, although we're always happy to have an oversubscription. You know, the key thing about this is not a raise to do scientific work. This is a raise for commercial. So we need to hire salespeople. We need to spend more money on promotion. Even online, it costs some money. We want to go to more conferences. You know, it's great that we went to 3 last year. We'd love to go to about 8 this year, which is a great way to present our data and to meet new customers. So really, 1.4 million goes not into long-term development, but short-term investment for revenue growth and profitability.
What's the exit strategy for your investors?
Well, like I said earlier, we think the most likely exit will be an acquisition. When we talked about some of the companies, you know, our competitors could be acquirers, take the technology and be able to do the same work better. But we also look at adjacencies as well. If you look at 3 similar types of companies that got acquired, each one was acquired by what I would call an adjacent company. For example, you know, if you're looking at a company that is doing, you know, antibodies, well, they need gene-edited cell lines to create their antibodies. So buying our technology helps them not only grow horizontally, but it also allows them to lower their own cost.
Thank you so much, Matt, for taking the time to speak with us. And
My pleasure.
we'll
Thank
be
you, Mark.
looking forward to see how this all evolves.
Yes, well, I'm looking forward to that too. Thanks.